How do we unify our mission with the divine plan? How's everyone doing out there today? Hope you're having a great day. Welcome to my channel. I'm Thomas, and I do educational videos on a number of different subjects. Right now, we've been focused on the tree of life and learning more about how it works. The tree of life is a diagram that maps out our faculties of consciousness. It goes back to at least ancient Egypt, probably before. The ancient Hebrews picked it up at a certain point, and kind of the medieval, early modern Hebrews also used it, and it is carried up to the present day. A lot of the people that use it right now are Satanists and are bent on your destruction. That's why it's important to learn the tree of life, because you can use it for self-defense. Now, the tree looks like this. It's a diagram of really 10 circles connected by 22 lines, but it really has 12 components. The circles are numbered. These circles are really spheres, so it's really like a 3D thing mapped out on a 2D thing. But the circles are numbered 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then there is an abyss. It's called the abyss right here, which is an implied sphere or dotted circle, and then a 0 above the tree. It makes a total of 12 different components, or 12 different faculties of consciousness. Or you could think of them as aspects of consciousness or potentialities of consciousness. And, you know, the lower they are on the tree, the more kind of, the more easily accessed. And then the higher up on the tree, the harder it becomes to access them. So we naturally start here. The creation of the universe really goes from here down to here, but then when we are born, we start here and we're trying to evolve back in this direction. Most of us don't make it very far. But with this coming Great Awakening, hopefully we'll be able to change that, and we'll be able to begin to access some of our higher spiritual faculties. But 10 is kind of anything but that. 10 is really our animal consciousness, wild animal consciousness, the law of the jungle, kill or be killed, the state of nature, fight or flight response, the state of the body, the natural way that the body keeps us alive, and also the opposite of that, more or less the defilements and lusts of the body that serve to block our natural survival instinct. So that would be kind of like 10th sphere negative. Okay, then the ninth sphere is our domestic consciousness. This is what we get growing up in the home, the first years of our life, where we are highly receptive in what is called the mediumistic trance to our environment, to people in our environment, our caregivers who are around the home, and they're taking care of us, cleaning us up, feeding us, keeping us warm, and we are wrapped in attention with what they do. We watch intently everything around us, what they do, and we imitate what they do, and we practice that, and then eventually we memorize it. So those are really kind of the important factors of the ninth sphere: heightened receptivity, imitation, practice, and memorization. Okay, then the eighth sphere, where the ninth sphere is about the domestic consciousness, The A-sphere is really in the public consciousness, or what's known as the consensus worldview, the paradigm, the way things are, just the way it is. But it's really the establishment and the institutions who run the A-sphere, and this is where all the resources are. And so these people here feel like they have the right to tell you what you're supposed to believe in. So they say, this is the way it is, this is the science behind it, this is the the official position, this is what we say. And since they have all the resources, we have to kind of buy into this A-sphere to a certain degree. But the A-sphere is a trickster, and it's not really ever telling you the truth. It's filled with deception. It will tell you what is convenient for it, not necessarily what is true. If what is true is convenient, then they'll tell you the truth. But if it's not convenient, not part of the narrative, not what they want you to know, then they'll tell you a lie, and they'll make you believe it in order to to be able to continue on with living a normal life. Otherwise, you're going to be punished. So that creates, so the A-sphere is really about our belief systems, what we believe in, and then our rational faculty being able to, logic and reason, to reason through things. But we get stuck in kind of a negative A-sphere, where we use things like circular reasoning and rationalization to justify their lies, justify their deception, because otherwise we're torn, because we know we have to get into this A-sphere in order to grab some of the resources, but what they're telling us at the A-sphere flies in the face of our own personal experience. And so we have to kind of dismiss our own experience in order to fit in here enough to get the resources. So eventually, some of us will learn how to pay this lip service and kind of just, go in here for the minimum that you need to in order to get your resources, and then, be out of there for as long as you can and do the best you can with all the other faculties. Some of us just go in here, whole hog, and, just pretend like this is how everything is, and just kind of turn their back on their own experience. So this is like a negative A-sphere, a rationalization or circular reasoning. Now, if we use the reasoning faculty properly, we eventually will come to a breaking point, where we're like, I can't really deal with this anymore. This is all lies, and this, or at least partially lies, and it doesn't correspond with my experience. So where the A-sphere is the real world, we move over to the seventh sphere, which is the imaginary world. And in this imaginary world, we imagine a better eighth sphere, whether that's in total or certain parts of it. We imagine a way of life that is better than this A-sphere. So we use our imagination, but we also use other aspects of the seventh sphere, including our inspiration. Maybe we've seen other people do similar things, and our intuition, which is being able to kind of go inside, to be curious and to wonder about how things could be better, and then go inside and be filled in, or to be tutored into, intuited through how things could be better. Also, our creative spark, our ability to come up with new things, and our pleasure principle, our ability to come up with pleasing arrangements of putting together things into different configurations. We can use all these things to come up with alternatives for this A-sphere. But the problem is that the A-sphere doesn't care about any kind of alternatives. They might be posing as they care, but they don't. And so you're stuck out here with your alternative, and you have really nowhere to go with it. The A-sphere will give you money and status if you co-opt yourself. If you take your creative thing and you give it back to the A-sphere, you sell it back, they'll turn it into an advertising jingle or some other way of solidifying their power here. So you might have an alternative, but you don't really have the megaphone in order to, make this alternative known to others. And you end up kind of just getting marginalized, and you either, this is what's called the crossroads situation. You either end up, giving it back to the A-sphere or developing it on your own, which is a very difficult path. This is the uphill path, but you do have inspiration on your side. So the inspiration is the 1% that you need to kind of get started on this path. The other 99% is the perspiration. So it's going to be a lot of hard work, but a person here could be just desperate enough to take this path in order to kind of see their invention or their creativity to fruition. Okay, so when we get to the sixth sphere, we realize that we're already here, because the sixth sphere is the center of the tree, and this is the pointer that says you are here, and we are here, and this is our free will faculty. And the free will faculty boils down to our ability to pay attention and our ability to make decisions. But unfortunately, our attention is occupied in this matrix here, 8, 9, and 10. This is how we grew up, this is what we're accustomed to, and this is kind of like the gravity that's pulling us down. It's all our past behaviors, our past way of doing things, and we're kind of trapped in this comfort zone of how things used to be. So we must use the other half of our free will faculty, which is our ability to make decisions, and we must decide to turn our back on this. Turn our attention, instead of down the tree, turn our attention up the tree, so that we're facing the more higher spiritual aspects of ourselves that maybe are not so well developed as these areas here are developed. So we have to turn ourselves around, and that requires a great deal of courage, because now we're finding ourselves staring into the unknown, or the relative unknown, instead of just being around things that are very familiar to us. So now, once we do that, though, we can focus then on the next one, the fifth sphere, which is our sense of justice. This is our ability to be just, and to stay away from injustice. And I guess the way karma, this is otherwise known as karma, which you can see as what comes around goes around. For every action there's an equal and opposite reaction, and as you sow, so shall you reap. Our karma comes back to us. What we do comes back to us in return. And the justice section of the karma is really calibrated based on violence, waste, and violation. So when you are violent to somebody, when you violate somebody, when you commit a wasteful action, that is what creates the karma. And so when you create your karma, you get karma in return. When you create violence, you get violence in return. But if you are paying attention, a quality of the sixth sphere, if you're paying attention, you can recognize that your actions are what what is creating the negative reactions. And so you can gradually transform your behavior to make it less violent and less violative and more just. So when you can actually make just actions, then they don't create karma. So you can use your fifth sphere, your sense of justice, as a mirror and also as a teacher to you to clean up your actions. And in the same way with the fourth sphere, where the fifth sphere is about our sense of justice and the enforcement of the natural law, the fourth sphere is about the articulation of that natural law. So the natural law is not the police or the justice system or other, A-sphere things from the establishment that are based more or less on fiat. They change the rules every day to accommodate their own whim. But the fourth sphere is established over the course of time and generations by people who have observed the world, investigated the world, experimented, experienced, and measured the world in order to figure out how things really work. And these are articulated in cosmologies, in holy books, in theories of everything. And some are better than others, some are more right than others, some resonate with you more than others, but they all are like sincere attempts to figure this out through observation, not just what's convenient for me, but how the universe really works. And so the advice here is to be able to pay attention to as many of these cosmologies as you can, to become accustomed to as many of them as you can, and then to take your own experience and to take your intuition, to elevate your intuition from the seventh sphere up to the fourth sphere, where the seventh sphere intuition is really kind of a universal thing, but at the fourth sphere you have to have your knowledge level up to a high level, and then you can use your intuition to make the intuitive leap to a new level. But you've already got to have a very good grasp of the topic. So you have to really study comparative cosmology or cosmology, as Terence McKenna would say, and then to take it to the next level with your intuition. Okay, and similar here with the abyss, which is our psychic powers, which is activated by an omen or a synchronicity or something to that effect, a deja vu, a recurring theme, a recurring name or number. And those are things that we are that should click in our mind. Okay, and that if they click in our mind and we don't dismiss it, then that is the first part of the psychic powers, our psychic receptivity, our ability to recognize and tune into omens. And then when we can do that recognition, that receptivity, it gives us a path of action. And that path of action, if we can take that path of action, that is our psychic heat, our ability to act upon the omen. And so that also requires courage. So we have to be able to tune in to and recognize the omens, psychic receptivity, and then to be able to act upon the omens, psychic heat. And again, the psychic heat requires courage. The psychic receptivity, requires coolness or receptivity. Okay, then the 3, 2, and 1 are above the tree. They have to do with our divine faculties within: omnipotence, all-powerful; omniscience, all-knowing; omnipresence, all-present, all at once, eternally. We tap into this through sound synchronization, mantra, shamanic music, shamanic drumming, creative music, sacred music. And then we tap into the second sphere, omniscience, all powerful or all knowing, and wisdom, our ability to solve problems. We can tap into that simply through a divination system, a random chance process that we use in order to provide answers to questions, or hopefully we can do this ourselves through being able to still our mind to the point where it becomes very calm and transparent, and we can see through to the core of our being, the core of our mind. And that is really what is the omnipresence, is that core of our mind. So at the second sphere, we're able to see the core of our mind, which is wisdom. And at the first sphere, we're able to be at the core of our mind, which is unification, because we recognize that when we are at the core of our mind, that is the singularity, meaning that it's at the core of everything. Not just our mind, but everybody's mind has that same singularity at the center, and that makes us omnipresent. We are everywhere all at once. And then the zero above the tree is the mystery, and it is the nothingness. It does not exist in the universe, but it exists as part of the creator. So it is the part of the creator that the creator reserves for itself. The creator does not give us access to this zero sphere. It's the creator's private life, so to speak. Okay, now that is the beginner's lesson on the tree of life. Now we go to the slightly more advanced version, where we take the whole tree, all 12 faculties, and we shrink it down to a miniature, and we apply it to each one of the 12 faculties. So we put a tree on the 9th sphere, we put a tree on the 8th sphere, we put a tree on the 7th sphere, and so on. And so we divide this 9th sphere into 12. Divide the 8th sphere into 12. So it's 12 by 12 by 12 by 12 by 12 for a total of 144 different, what I call fractal faculties, or stages of life. Those stages are not chronological stages, but they are dramatic stages. So 144 separate dramas that we negotiate as we move through, as we evolve. And I've compiled those into a list called the Guide to the 144 Fractal Faculties. And if you'd like to get a free copy of that, just click the link in the description and I will send it to you. Now, every day in this more advanced aspect of the show, we go through one of those 144 fractal faculties and just give it a little bit of a spotlight. Today we're looking at number 107, which is called The Sky's the Limit, or Actualizing the Seemingly Impossible. And the question is, how do we unify our mission with the divine plan? So this is number 107, is located in the 3rd sphere. So the 3rd sphere is omnipotence, all powerful. It has to do with our mission in life, and it has to do with synchronizing sound through mantra or other sound synchronization processes. And then it is the first fractal of the 3rd sphere. So it is the unifying aspect, or the omnipresent aspect within the 3rd sphere that we tap into through being at the center. Okay, so actualizing the seemingly impossible, the sky's the limit. Stage number 107 is about applying the sound sync principles and techniques more broadly from specific events or mission to life in general. We approach our mission through cultivating our potential, but we unify our mission through eliminating the natural resistances. When we are able to synthesize our lives with the natural rhythms, we ourselves become a musical instrument of nature. And the miraculous becomes an everyday occurrence as nature plays us. We have learned how to be in the flow of the natural law. We surrender our will, the ability to choose, to the dictates of the divine structure, permitting the Creator to manifest in the world. We are able to accomplish anything humanly possible, though to observers it appears impossible, but it really still is within the genetic constraints of human. Anything we can visualize, anything we have seen accomplished by others, but only on our own day in the sun. But then when we unify, we amplify. So the moment in the sun, our own day in the sun, the fixed point between cycles that is necessary for full-blown creativity. But we are only able to amplify our mission by eliminating the resistance, the turbulence in our minds, where impossible is not presented by rationality. Calm the mind, and we tap the unlimited power of creativity. Omnipotence. No limitations to its ability to carry out what is willed. We actualize more and more power by eliminating the resistance. So the resistance is our ally, which allows us to dig deeper and deeper into the mind and summon that extra power. Adversities exist to reach into the depths, or at least see and be into the depths of our spirit to awaken the spiritual power to overcome those resistances. After any setback, we have the opportunity to get right back at it, but better, if we learn our lessons. Omnipotence is fueled by adversity, by loving adversity, by playing smarter, not just harder, seeking the equilibrium of stillness, by letting go and letting go more. Least resistance if our plan is the divine plan, aligned with dictates of structure and statistics. Through chanting, we are blocking out thinking, blocking out limitation in favor of powerful syllables. But if we sink further into the calm mind, we can see, and then we can be, how to unify our power with the all. If we are in harmony with the divine structures, the sky's the limit. Okay, that's number 107. Third sphere, first fractal of the third sphere. The sky's the limit, or anything actualizing the seemingly impossible. Alrighty, well, thank you for sticking around to the end of the video, and you can click the link in the description if you'd like that free guide to the 144 fractal faculties. You can click the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for future videos in this series starting tomorrow. And then in the meantime, please have a beautiful day and, keep your light. Okay.